Now, there are a couple of tools that you should be aware of for monitoring connection pools. The first one is a great SQL Server tool, and that is SQL Server Profiler. If you're using SQL Server and you don't know about Profiler, you really need to do a little research. I mean, it's something we cover in our SQL Server course. But SQL Server Profiler allows you to run a trace on all activity on your SQL Server. And it's a very, very useful tool for figuring out what's going on. You can see all the SQL statements that are being processed, and you can see all different types of activity that are classified into events. And you can determine which events you want to monitor in a particular trace. And so when you're setting up a SQL Server Profiler trace, there are two events, audit login and audit logout, which are going to allow you to monitor the birth and death of connections. So in your trace, you would have a record of every connection that was opened and closed if you monitor these events, if you include them in your SQL Server trace. Another great tool to use is the Windows Performance Monitor, which you're probably already well familiar with. And there are some counters specifically for SQL Server connections. The performance object that you'll choose in the UI for Performance Monitor is SQL Server General Statistics, and the specific counter is user connection. So by tracing the number of user connections, you can see how your pooling is working, how many connections are open. Now, in addition to just monitoring how many connections are open and how your pooling is doing, there are some other statistics that are exposed that are new in ADO.NET 2.0, and I'll show you right now how you can work with and view the statistics that are accumulated for each of your SQL connection objects.